Yes, it's true. I am down massively on my Bitcoin short right now. But guess what, guys? Cam Fous got a plan. Cam Fous never loses. Even though I know a lot of you are watching this thinking, oh man, how's that short going, Cam? And just loving seeing me get my ass kicked and get fucking wrecked on the short side. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to work out in your favor. I'll tell you exactly why in today's video. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Again, this is not financial advice, just me, Cam Fous, making some good and sometimes very bad decisions. Point in case, what we're talking about today, where I'm down almost $90,000 on my Bitcoin and other shorts as well through this latest squeeze. So let's just talk about how this kind of came into fruition. How did I get myself into this sticky situation? Mind you, I was down $70,000 on my US 30 short and then turned around and made $70,000 on it. Could I do the same thing here on this Bitcoin situation that I got myself into? For the second time in the last fucking 60 days, I'm stressed. This is part of the game. Let's talk about how I even got here and how you could potentially avoid getting here for yourself in the future, because I did make a mistake on this trade, and I'll tell you exactly what I did wrong. Let's just first and foremost get right into what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently up 157 points today, continually pushing to the upside, guys, continually retesting these previous highs. But let's just rewind the clock here a little bit. Back to about right here. Everything's looking good in my favor. You know, I'm thinking, okay, we might spike up to the upside to about 17, retest this level right here, come back up, retest to this here. We got resistance here, resistance here, resistance here from over here, and that's going to be a perfect opportunity to get short again, and then we're going to see the capitulation back down here. The problem was we did start pushing into that level. A lot of times the action that happens in crypto also correlates with the action that's happening in the US stock market. And so at this point, prior to this day right here that was included, this is me sleeping throughout this whole entire session. And the problem is when you live in Asia like me and you're also subject to the US stock market time, it's easy to get stopped out, and it depends on how you want to work it. If you use a physical stop, you're likely to get shaken out because you're going to keep your stop too close. But if you don't use a stop, you run the risk of what just got myself into. But, you know, if I'm awake in Asia, I can then potentially react to real time, which typically is kind of how I like to operate in a lot of situations, not all situations, but I like to use my instinct a lot of times to either get out of my position or enter a position in real time because you're actually watching it unfold. But when you're sleeping, you don't have the opportunity to do that. So by the time I woke up the next morning, we already pierced through this descending wedge, which in fact is a very bullish signal that I discussed in the actual video that I filmed the week before. I said when we were down here, I have to be prepared for a potential move up to 21,371. And we can rewind and show that right now. So we don't know if it's going to happen or not, right? So you have to be able to plan for both scenarios of what if it does break above this and actually hold above it and get a confirmed breakout and close and actually sustain possibly, you know, a potential bullish flag here where we could consolidate and then finally rip to the upside and maybe retest upwards of 21K around here. All potential scenarios. So as you can see, I was prepared and understood that this was definitely a possibility. Problem was by the time I woke up, I was sitting here, okay, we're now at this major resistance about 19K. I would have to be an idiot to cover my short. That's basically like we're selling the top here, which is, for me, that didn't seem like a very good probability. It seemed like the higher in favor probability would we retest down here at 18K. Guess what happens? I go back to sleep another night and I wake up and we're up here. I'm like, okay, well, fuck. Now we're definitely going to this level, very high potential. And so at that point, I'm getting ready to just then add to my position up here, dollar cost average to the upside, so then I can take advantage of the next pullback back down to about 19K. So this is not an ideal situation to get into. What should have happened is I should have been getting out of this position after it broke out and confirmed the breakout above about 18.3. Instead, sleeping without a stop in Asia based on US stock market action got me caught in this situation. And it led to me just building my position even bigger to short, whereas now I'm not trying to really make money on this short. I'm now just trying to recover from this short. And going all the way forward, we do have where we are currently now. Bitcoin's up 184 points as of right now, but we're continually retesting this area. Back when the FTX news came out, this is now the pivot high here, of which we've continually tried to test and re-break out over that. But every time we've gotten close to this level, we've seen a dramatic sell-off, right? Spike to the upside, sell-off, spike to the upside, sell-off, spike to the upside, sell-off. This again tried to spike to the upside and sell off, and now we're slowly inching to the upside, and actually what's known as a rising wedge pattern, which doesn't mean that it's factual, but it is technically a bearish pattern and bearish reversal pattern, of which we also have that major resistance about 21.5. Ideally, what I would like to see and kind of what I'm hoping for and happen, and actually from a TA perspective, is we do continually grind up in this rising wedge, maybe even one last spike to the upside, and then fake everyone out. And then that's going to lead to the floor being dropped at about 21,000, where we have a lot of support in right now. And that'll lead back down to about 19K-ish, as there's really no support between about 20K and 19K. If we break down below about 20,600-ish, these lows, there's not much support here. It's just going to drop. all the way probably back down to 19K. So that is kind of the ideal situation and setup that I'm looking for right now. But that doesn't mean we can't continue to flag here, potentially come back down, retest 26, which has heavy support, continued flag, and then rip up to about 22.3 and also potentially the high of about 22.78. So these are all potential scenarios that we have to factor in that could be potentially playing out right now. I'm also short S&P 500, and you can see the US 30 has officially kind of started to roll over after retesting these highs here, of which I made about 70K short on this level. When it spiked to the upside and had that one last push and drive to the upside, faking everyone out, I actually added to that short and ended up locking all my gains for about 70K. Now we retest this level, of which I do believe we're still going to continue down. Also looking at the S&P 500, I'm currently short the S&P 500, looking for this to retest this level, potentially even have one last spike to the upside, of which I'll continually add to this short, of which I believe we're going to continue to drop down to about the lows, about 3,500, even potentially down to 3,200, back into this range. Now, we have a huge catalyst coming out tonight, at least tonight my time, which is US core PPI and US PPI numbers, as well as US retail sales coming in at 8:30 Bangkok time. I believe that's probably Wednesday morning in New York. Brief interruption here, guys. Did you know that 75% of traders have accounts under $25,000? This creates a huge problem because even if you double that account in a year, which is almost impossible, you're still only making $25,000. Introducing Hydra funding, where you can potentially get access up to $500,000 in capital. All you have to do, guys, is sign up for a challenge account, which is going to give you potentially access up to $500,000. And if you earn a 10% profit in this demo account without going into a 5% loss overall or a 4% loss in a day, you will then pass their evaluation phase and, yes, get access to an account with the selected size account. And now, instead of trying to double a $10,000 account, you could potentially earn only 10% on a $100,000 account to earn the same level of profits. And the benefits of this are huge. Rather than risking your entire $10,000 on one account, you can use just $1,000 to potentially get access to $100,000 in capital. You can trade crypto, forex, stocks, CFTs, gold, oil, everything under the sun, all on MT4 and MT5. If you're interested, if you have an account under $25,000, like 75% of traders out there, you're not going to make any money with that account because it's too small. Get access to pro level funding and pro level capital with Hydra funding. Link's going to be below. I think this is going to be the catalyst to, identify what's going to be happening here, basically for the US stock market, and that's also going to basically determine what's going to happen for the crypto market in the next 30 days, because this is going to be a catalyst at a resistance point, either break out to the upside or fake everyone out to the upside and then drop, or we could even potentially just rip to the upside and I get stopped down on my shorts as well. I don't know what's going to happen, but right now that's just my plan. We either hit this resistance, PPI comes out tonight, it's either on par with what they expect, and if they disappoint, we're definitely seeing a meltdown to the downside, as we're already continually seeing just failed spikes to the upside. If we look at what's going on in the market for the NASDAQ, right, we continually spike. We're now spiking again. We're spiking again here, but we're getting closer to that resistance. So the more we kind of inch up to this resistance point, the better and higher probability we do see an eventual decline. And also looking at Bitcoin, guys, we're just continually driving up with no pullback. And on top of that, if we look at the FlipX indicator, FlipX has not been this oversold since 2017. Horizontal line here, we're at about 87. Okay. So the last time we were up this high for FlipX was in 2017, before the big washout. Not even once did FlipX get this high during the 2020 and 2021 bull market. Also, if we zoom in a little bit closer here at the Momo X here, and this is just indicators. Indicators don't mean shit at the end of the day. Yes, they can give you a little bit of guidance, but you should never trade based off an indicator. But there's multiple factors that we have to look at, right? We had a Momo X sell signal here right before this big meltdown. We had a Momo X sell signal up here at the first peak before it did retest highs and then fake everyone out on that official bull trap before the final meltdown. The only time the Momo X didn't work was during this period right here, where it had 3 sell signals and then continually drove up and then drove back down. But actually, the lows that were made to potentially lock in gains after sell signal were much lower than the actual first sell signal on Momo X. So now, just today, we actually got the first sell signal on Momo X. So there's multiple indications here. One, we have this bull trap potentially forming. Well, it actually is already formed, faking out over these previous highs. We have the highest FlipX indication we have ever seen since 2017, 2018, fucking Giga Chad rally. We also have another Momo X sell signal that just triggered today. It doesn't mean that things can't go higher, but if we look at the probabilities of things and the signals that are in play right now, it's a higher probability that that we're going to see some sort of pullback eventually coming in soon, as opposed to continually just going on a trajectory of just straight up forever, right? The key indication here is that the news that's coming out, the PPI, can send this in either direction. It's either going to spike to the upside or it's going to spike to the downside. This is kind of the catalyst that we have to wait for before we probably will see any sort of actual new direction out of this current consolidation, either up or down. So if we look at my current positions right now, yes, I'm down about 85,000 since the beginning of this run, because yes, I'm down $57,000 currently on my Bitcoin short. I did get stopped out on several positions on the altcoins that continually spiked up, but I've continually now added some new positions such as APT, of which we've been short since about 8.45. I need this to get down to about $7 per coin, of which I'll make about $16,000. I'm also short DOT, which I'm down about 6K on. This can still potentially rip to the upside, right? We're consolidating here, but I'm probably going to be looking for about a break-even trade to get out of DOT short. I'm also still in Gala, of which this is continually consolidating, but it's losing steam, it's losing volume. If there's any sort of selling pressure on Ethereum or Bitcoin, this will easily drop to about 39 to 40 cents, of which I'll definitely make about 19.6. Also, GMT currently up about 5,200 on short. If it goes back down to my profit target, of which I believe it's going to, about 42.6, I think I'm going to make about 13,000 here on GMT. Also, Mana short, pulling back here to my target. This is also losing steam, running out of volume. You can see the declining volume here. Any sort of selling pressure that pops in, I bound down to about my target, about 58 cents. That'll be about a $13,000 profit. And also, I just picked up Solana short. It is flagging, but a breakdown below this support level here, I think we're definitely dropping back to about $20 per coin, of which I'll be making about $6,600. If Bitcoin gets back to my target, about 19.5-ish, somewhere in the 19s, I'll lose about $12,000 on that instead of $58,000 loss that I'm at now. And I'll end up probably about $20,000 to $50,000 in profit if my altcoins play out. But, you know, we don't know if that's going to happen. Bitcoin's pumping again right now, 256 points, going to be probably retesting these highs again. But I don't think it's going to make any big move to the upside until we know what the PPI numbers are out. So we'll see what happens here as we continually retest these highs. But as you can see, the volume signature continually dries up. We had the spike here, higher volume, and now we're spiking up again, but even lower volume this time. So it's hard to say, but this is a bearish rising wedge pattern. It's going to be an interesting night to see how this plays out. But I think probabilities favor a pullback as opposed to just a continuation of this continuous, nonstop upward trajectory, especially when we look at the S&P 500 as well, which is kind of teetering off at resistance. I think we're looking at the more high probability after a run to the upside, super overbought into resistance. But at the end of the day, PPI numbers that are coming out today are going to be the catalyst to see what happens. So also, guys, just a reminder, the money I have in this account is just a small fraction of my portfolio. Most of my money is sitting off on the sidelines, waiting for all the dust to settle from everything going on here. So even if I lost this entire account, I'm still not losing, okay? Because this is a small fraction of my portfolio, and I'll still probably, if we did see a bull run in 2023, I'm definitely making over $1 million, and this would just be a blip on the map. But guess what? I think I'm going to come out in profits on this. Could be wrong, but that's just my guess right now. Let's see what happens tonight with PPI, and then we can go from there. And you can either leave some comments in the section, say, I told you, Cam, you fucking idiot, you got wrecked. Or I'm going to be making a video talking about how I made 50 grand off of this. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the comments.